Hi, and welcome to another edition of George's Corner. I'm your host, George Lee Jones. What we're going to talk about right now is my week. I just want to give you a brief synopsis. My week started with death in the family. I lost my uncle, my father's brother, a great guy who helped me through adolescence, taught me a lot of lessons, and I also lost a good friend and colleague that I used to work with who, because he was close to my age, made me think about life and death and how death is the final chapter in life, well, at least the physical being. And it made me have a range of thoughts about everything that I've done to this point. And one of the biggest things that it made me think about is this, and maybe this will work or help some of you, and that is work is not who I am, it's what I do. I'm going to say it again. Work is not who I am, but it's what I do. I think a lot of us define ourselves when someone says, "So, who are you?" The first thing we want to do is tell them what type of occupation we have, what type of job we have, what is our career path, and so forth. And I realized that, no, it really all boils down to who you are as an individual. My uncle, case in point, for example, was a military guy. He had traveled around the world about 3 or 4 times, and for lack of better words, that defined who he was as a person for the majority of his life. Now, don't get me wrong, he was a great guy, but in every conversation that would come up, and he had been long retired, I'm talking probably 40 plus years, but each time I remember having a conversation with him, it was all about his exploits in the military, people he encountered there. And what it made me think about was how trapped he was in the past and not really living in the present moment of who he was currently at the time. And so it made me reflect on my own life, because a lot of people that I come across, they define themselves by their work. And I thought, that's the one thing I don't want to be defined by, is by my work. I want to be defined by my character, the person I am. Moreover, the lives that I touch. Now, conversely, I thought about my friend who also passed away, and he couldn't be defined by his work because he had many jobs or occupations that he had acquired throughout the course of his life. So you couldn't pinpoint him down to, okay, he was this particular profession or that particular occupation. But what you could consistently say about him was that, wow, this guy's life touched a lot of people. And in comparison of thinking about both of those lives, my uncle with the occupation, that was great. And that was where he lived, but it seemed to me like it stagnated his future growth. Whereas this guy, who was a good friend and colleague of mine, who was not defined by his occupation or his job, but by the people he touched. He was an umpire, he was a father, he was a husband. But the one thing that I remember most about him is that whatever issue or problem you had, you could talk to him and he'd give you an honest answer and an honest opinion. And it never had anything to do with work. And so it made me realize, again, that work is something you do. It does not define who you are. And if it does, you need to step back and look at your life and ask yourself, what do you want to be defined as? I don't want my work to define me. I want who I am as a person, the character and conviction of the strength of who I am. That's what I want to define me. I just wanted to give you something to think about. This is not going to be a long piece, but that's just how my week has gone. And I just thought I wanted to share that with you. Okay? Again, be good to yourself. Love yourself. Be great to others. And finally, always be learning something new. Until next time, fam, this is George's Corner. George. Good talking with you. I'll talk to you next time.